Today I'm trying British food here in Tokyo, Japan. Now I've done this before in Benidorm, I've done it before in Egypt, but I've never done it here in Asia. So I'm very excited to see what does Tokyo have in store for us in terms of British food. It should feel like nothing. There shouldn't be anything here. You've got your sushi. Do you need a sausage roll? We're going to go through it stage by stage. We're going to do breakfast, lunch, we'll do a snack, and then we'll find dinner. So let's crack on. Let's try and find breakfast, which has to be a full English breakfast. Okay, so we have arrived at our breakfast location. It is called Taste the World. Now in theory, this is basically a breakfast place which rotates its menu to various different cuisines every couple of months. It's supposed to have a full English breakfast on all the time. This is the outside of the restaurant, Taste the World. They've clearly got a Canadian breakfast on at the moment. It looks like there's a queue outside. Okay, I've just left Taste the World. I couldn't really film a lot in there. Basically, you're all sat on one table and you're right next to the kitchen where the ladies are frying things up for you. It was a little bit like being round your grandma's and she's cooking you a fry-up. You know, it was that kind of feeling, all sat around the same table. There's only about 8 seats, something like that. But I tell you what, the full English was damn good. Okay, there was no bacon and there was only one sausage, but you know what? It was actually very good. I did not expect it to be as good as that. I know it's not exactly the most difficult thing in the world. Jesus, nearly fell over. Not exactly the most difficult thing in the world to make, but it's very, very good. I don't know what the egg thing was. I don't know whether it was an omelette or whether it was scrambled or something. I'm not sure. I'm not deep into my eggs, I'll be honest. I just have usually fried. This was just like a wet egg. It was like a wet, soggy egg. I don't know if that's a variety of egg, probably not. But overall, I was very impressed with that. I'm going to say that was a solid 7 out of 10 in terms of replicability. I don't even know if that's a word. Purely on the basis that it does need bacon. It does need a second sausage. Hash brown, I was very happy with. There's more hash brown than sausage. I love a hash brown, I bloody love one, but you've got to have the proportions right. Anyway, I've got places to be. I've got to go get myself some lunch. Yes, I've just had breakfast, but with the power of editing, it looks like I'm going straight to lunch. And I'm going to a very special place for lunch, and I'm very excited about it. Let's head there now. Hello. Thank you. Wow, well what a taxi ride that was. The guy was dressed in a full-blown suit. He looked like John Wick. A suit, that's fantastic. Lovely watch on him as well. I reckon he's probably just off to go do a little assassination or something after this. Oh, how lovely. Anyway, we are heading now towards getting some lunch, which I think might be inside this station. Considering this is a train station, there are lots and lots of restaurants here, which is pretty impressive. They're not just like takeaways or coffee shops or anything like that. There's like proper restaurants, sit-down meals, bistros. Somewhere here there should be the restaurant that I'm supposed to be at. And here it is, I've finally found it. It's a place called Shake and Chips. It's got like a British pub type feeling, and in theory should serve British fish and chips, or at least fish and chips. We'll see how British they are. Hello. It looks exactly like a sort of British pub. And fish and chips up here, British flag. This is very exciting. Okay, so they've got fish and chips on the menu for 1,580 yen, which is about £7.50, something like that, which is pretty decent. They've also got different things where fish are stuffed in bread and stuff. That's the fish in bread with chips. This is such like a random find, and I love it. I love it so much. Because I wouldn't usually come to these places when I'm abroad, but I do like the fact that they exist, and I want to try it. Okay, my drink has arrived. Went for a Guinness. Not exactly traditional fish and chip drink, but it's a drink, isn't it? Oh, split the G, split the... I'm not a child. Let's have a drink. That is lovely and flat. Do you know what, that probably tastes better than when I had it in Dublin. I didn't really rate it in Dublin. Maybe I like it when it's sort of flat and not done properly, I don't know. It's alright that, you know. Fish and chips is on the way, and we have got ketchup, mustard, and I'm trying to figure out what that is. And it seems like some sort of sherry vinegar, a boozy vinegar on your fish and chips. This could be interesting. And here it is, fish and chips, here in Tokyo, Japan. And I've got to say, it smells like fish and chips, although I'd say actually it smells probably a little bit more like, you know, fresh donuts at the seaside. It has that kind of smell. So thinner, longer chips, 2 bits of fish. And I don't know what this is, whether it's like a coleslaw type thing, I'm not sure. We do have the little bit of lemon here. We should probably try this. That's sort of what this video is, isn't it? It certainly feels like normal fish when you cut into it. The fish certainly a lot more soggy and wet. I have no idea what fish this is, but it tastes a lot fishier. It's like real fish. Let's see what this is. I think it's coleslaw with minton. Coleslaw with minton mixed with the fish. It sort of works. Okay, finished it up here. Still got Guinness to go. I'll give you my full analysis once we've left. Just a bit of a situation. I went to go pay basically, and it turns out they don't take contactless, which I was sort of banking on because I have no cash on me, don't have my physical cards on me. That meant that I had to basically get a taxi back to the hotel, get my cards, get a taxi back here into a train station, which is pretty difficult to navigate in the best of times, in order to pay the £10 bill. So I spent £20 on taxi fares in order to pay the £10 bill. So it's a bit of an expensive one, but I did go get my credit cards, I did come back and pay, and I left them this camera as a way of being like, I'm coming back, I'm not just scamming you here. So I had to leave this camera, which is like £500-600 with them. The Japanese people are all about honour and integrity and all that kind of thing, so they weren't going to ever steal it or anything, but still, it's a stressful lunch that. Now let's review the food. So look, the fries are actually very, very good. They're almost like McDonald's fries in terms of like their consistency, in terms of their saltiness, but obviously not the chips that we'd usually have in the UK, so not quite the same thing, but a lot of places do use fries rather than chips when trying to do fish and chips. I actually prefer the fries, to be honest, over the thick chips. The fish, however, obviously came in 2 pieces, which is a bit unusual. The batter was similar, but not quite the same. Not as buttery, not as salty. The fish wanted to be fish. It kind of tasted like fish, but it wasn't the fish and chips that we know. It was definitely a Japanese twist on it, but actually not a million miles off. You could tell it was fish and chips. It wasn't completely, you know, strange or foreign to see. In terms of how they managed to replicate it, I'd say it was a 6 out of 10, that. I was quietly impressed. And also the decor of the pub, the fact they serve Guinness, the fact they do milkshakes, hence the shake and chips. They do milkshakes with booze in. What? Milkshakes with booze in? Anyway, after the faff that I had trying to pay, I'm now hungry again. So let's go get a snack. All I'm gonna say is, could Japan do a sausage roll? Let's find out. Okay, so I've just got myself a taxi to a different part of the city, and up next we are here at a British pub. It says fish and chips on the front, but we're not here for fish and chips. We're here for something else that I think I might well have seen on the menu. I'm hoping this is the case. I'm hoping they still serve it. It almost looks a little bit Wetherspoonsy from the outside. This really stands out in Tokyo, does this? You don't find many places like this. British pub, let's head inside. Okay, so I've just got sat down in here and it is very lively. It is like being in a British pub. Bearing in mind it is 2:30 in the afternoon on a Wednesday and there are a lot of Japanese people in here. Can't quite believe it, to be honest. Japanese people actively going to a British pub. You'd think this would be for tourists, but there's me and one other person that aren't Japanese in here. And I've ordered my food, I've got a drink. I think this is English rose tea, I think is what it's called. I'm not quite sure what that is. I thought at first it was pins, but I don't know. I've got absolutely no idea what that is. I've never heard of English rose tea. It's watery tea. Is that part of the Christmas tree? I don't know. That looks like it's straight off a Christmas tree, doesn't it? This is the loudest place I've been to since I've got here. Quite a quiet country. I do have my snack on the way. I'm excited to see what this is like. And here is our food. So we've got a sausage spring roll, and they are very, very hot. They do look very different to what we're used to. They do kind of look like witches' fingers, and you only get, well, one broken in 2. You can get more if you want. I just asked for 1, and that's how they come. But I think these are going to be very good. Okay then, let's try one of these meaty delights. Bit of sausage, bit of roll, in a spring roll shape. Into the gob it goes. Tastes a bit like a German sausage. I'm not sure how. I mean, I've never been to Germany, I don't know. It's quite greasy, like a normal sausage roll, but this isn't a normal sausage roll. This is a sausage spring roll. I said to you, spring rolls are the sausage rolls of the East. I nailed it. I'm very impressed with this Japanese take on a sausage roll, served as a pub snack. Lovely and warm. Who would have thought it? Who would have thought it? Da Vinci couldn't have come up with this. No chance. Lovely and sausagey. It's got a spring in its step. I could have eaten about 12 of them. You wouldn't get a wipe in a British pub. Big fan of these, big fan. I would eat more things with my hands if we actually had these in the UK. That was really very impressive. Let's leave now and I'll give my full analysis outside. Thank you. Well, I cannot quite believe that. That was a very strange experience. The fact that a British pub is as busy as that here in Japan blows my mind. The irony there is, there's more people in this British pub than most British pubs back home. That was very, very impressive. Now, don't get me wrong, it wasn't just British food in there. There were other types of food mainly that you probably wouldn't tend to see so much in British pubs. But most of the people in there were middle-aged women catching up with their friends over a pint, which is kind of, again, sort of against the stereotype of like just blokes in a pub chatting with their mates type of thing. It was 80% women in there. So very, very interesting to see such a thriving British pub, and the fact that Japanese people are actively going out of the way to go to the British pub was quite surprising. I did not expect it to be Japanese people in there. I thought they'd be just full of tourists, but no. As for the food, sausage spring rolls, I mean, that's a thing that should be in the UK. I know we've got sausage rolls already, but put a little spring roll coating around them for all I care. Very tasty, nice and hot. And I was very, very impressed. I was impressed with it. Now, how close to a sausage roll is it? That's a bit more debatable. But it had a sausage. In terms of how they managed to replicate it, I'd say a 5. It tasted nice. It probably wasn't as close to a sausage roll as I thought it might be, but it's near enough. Anyway, let's go get dinner. And just like that, it's evening, and we're heading towards what is apparently a Scottish pub. I've seen pictures of a Japanese guy in there playing the bagpipes, so I would love for that to be the case tonight. We'll have to wait and see. But we are going to go get some more British food at this Scottish pub. I think I'm going the right way. Right. I've also just found another one of those hub British pubs. That's not what we're heading towards, but I didn't realise that was a chain. I didn't realise there was multiple of these in Tokyo. That seems quite strange that there is a chain of British pubs here. Kind of cool though, I just never expected that from Tokyo. Anyway, we've still got another 5-10 minute walk. That's not where I'm heading. And here we are, the Royal Scotsman. As you can see, another pub. This one definitely very much a Scottish pub, which I've never seen a Scottish pub before. You get Irish pubs, obviously, and British pubs, but a specifically Scottish pub is quite an unusual sight, particularly in Japan. You might find them in Scotland. Then by accident, I might have done. Anyway, let's pop inside. Let's see what it's got to offer. Look at this. This is the menu. Lots of different things in here. All your drinks, all your food. Sunday roast here, bangers and mash, chips and baked beans, chicken and chips. It's a surprise really that there's such a demand for this in Tokyo. But once again, it is all Japanese people. It's not tourists. I expected these places to be full of tourists. It's not that at all, which is quite nice to see. Of course, they had to have haggis in here as well, but I think what I'm going to go for is shepherd's pie, which looks very nice actually. They've even got Scottish music on here as well. They've really gone all out with Scotland. Okay, my food has arrived, but first I went for a cheeky little orange juice. I don't want to be staggering back. I've already had a Guinness, do you know what I mean? I'm a professional at the end of the day. And here is my Japanese shepherd's pie. Look at that, just how it is on the menu. It's piping hot. Wow, it smells amazing. And I can't wait to tuck into this, see what it's like. As I say, piping hot. It's hot, but damn, it's good. Wow, that is incredible. The power of mashed potato and minced meat. Who would have thought it? A lovely crisp top. That is delicious. How the hell is this a thing in Tokyo? This is probably the best one so far. Really good atmosphere in here as well. People clearly meeting up after work for a pint and a chat. It feels exactly the same as what happens in the UK. This is why I always say, travelling has made me realise one thing. We're pretty much all the same. I'm sure there'll be some of you annoyed that I'm using a spoon to eat this and not my hands or something ridiculous like that. Don't get me wrong, it should probably be served with some vegetables, gravy, something else. This is literally just a pie. But if you are going to do just a pie, do it right, and they have. Well, I've finished that. Once again, fantastic. Could have eaten a bigger one, to be honest. I mean, really, really good. Very impressed by that. How is it even possible though? Do you know what I mean, how is it possible? Since when was shepherd's pie something that was known outside the UK? Makes you proud. Anyway, I'll go outside and conclude. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. I turned around, saw someone chase after me. The guy working at the bar has just come out and given me a Royal Scotsman sticker pack as a present. How lovely is that? Completely caught me off guard. I've got to say, I was very, very impressed with that. That felt like a proper pub, not some like novelty thing to get tourists in and hike up the prices and offer rubbish food or anything like that. That was a proper pub with a proper atmosphere and people who were there to sort of catch up and have a chat after work like we do in the UK. You know, it was so authentic. I actually can't believe that somewhere like that exists in Tokyo. Very, very impressed. Free stickers as well. That's a bit of a bribe, I think, for a good review. I'd say the shepherd's pie in there, okay, yes, it was lacking, you know, some vegetables in the shepherd's pie, and perhaps some gravy or something like that, but the actual shepherd and pie itself was of a very high standard. I'm going to say that was a real solid 8 out of 10. The pub itself, even higher than that. Very, very impressed, Tokyo. So, can British food be replicated abroad? We found out in Tokyo, absolutely. This is no Egypt. This is no Benidorm. It does British food better than Benidorm. Overall, I've been very, very impressed by today. And the stickers, well, that just tops things off.